Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Audible. This is an interactive program for you, the fans of the Miami Dolphins. Good afternoon. I'm Kim Bokamper. Look who stopped by to join me here today, Jason Taylor. Jason, thanks for stopping by, man.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Let me count down some things here. Six-time Pro Bowler, Defensive Player of the Year. Then we had a little argument the last time we talked. I said 140 sacks.
Yes.
You said 139.5. I'm going to give you the 140 and go that way.
If you want to give me 145, I'll take those too.
Well, you can give those to me. You can give a few to me. It'll be better that way, all right?
I'll take whatever I can
get. I think I had
get.
about 39 or something. So
right.
between you and I, we're almost at 200.
Yeah, still short of Bruce Smith.
Yeah, you're darn right about that.
Yeah.
Hey, Jason, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for joining us in the program. We're going to be here with you Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, at least through training camp at 4:30 today, the opening day of training camp for the Miami Dolphins. It was hot. It was sweltering. And one thing I like, they stayed out of the bubble. They were on the practice field. Adam Gay is already putting his commitment that he's going to work these guys, work them hard so that they're ready to play when the regular season rolls around. A lot of good things to look at, a lot of good things to talk about. You can participate on Facebook. If you're watching us on Facebook, go ahead and throw your questions our way. We'll answer them as we go through the program. That's going to be a thing. It's our program. It's your program. So go ahead and share with a little bit. And I'm going to share some news with you right off the bat, a little breaking news as far as our radio partnership with WQAM is concerned. This season during the preseason, that booth up at the stadium is going to be manned by Jimmy Cefalo, who's been the play-by-play man now for about 12, 15 years. Been doing it for a long time. Joe Rose is going to be beside him. And my man Jason Taylor, this is the breaking news. You're going to do a little radio. You're going to be in the radio box for the preseason games. How's that going to be?
Is that breaking news on the opening day of training camp?
It is. Well, yeah. Well, there's some other breaking news we'll get to.
They haven't gotten the pads on yet. That's why it's breaking.
That's the big news right now. You in the radio booth. I know it's something that you're looking forward to, and I'm sure all the fans out there who watched your career, and I've been with you for events and everywhere you go. I mean, you're certainly, if not one of the most popular players ever to wear the aqua and orange. So I know the fans are going to be happy to see you in the booth. And what are you expecting out of it?
Well, thank you. I'm very blessed and very lucky to be in the position I am in, and I look forward to working with Joe and being around the guys. We were talking before the show started about how much I love being around the guys and Cam Wake and all the guys that I've played with, and get to see off the field a little bit. It'll be nice to be around the grass somewhat in the stadium and get to touch them, so to speak, be around the sweat in the game again.
How tough has it been for you being away from the game? I mean, different people make that transition in different ways, and to step away from the game, because once it's over, it's over.
Yes, it is.
You walk out the locker room and that's it. And although as much as you've been part of a team or teams, there's a separation now between you and them. How have you handled all that?
Well, regardless of who you are, when you walk out the door, it usually slams behind you. And I can still come around, and there's been some change in coaching staff since I've left, so it's been you kind of feel your way through some of the bureaucracy to see whether you can come around or not. But this is a very welcoming organization. They've always been open to me coming around, but it's different than playing. I've stayed busy with having 3 kids. I have a 13, 12, and 10-year-old, so they keep me very busy. I coach football right across the street here in Davie, so that keeps me going. But there's certain things I don't miss. At 8:20 this morning. I sat
out there at 8:20 this morning watching that practice. I felt that heat, and I said, that's what I don't miss right there.
At 8:20 this morning, I was sitting in the AC drinking Starbucks, watching CNN. So those are the things I do not miss. But there's a lot of things I do. And number one, the guys.
Do you ever look, and I do it every time training camp starts, and it's always August hot, that type of thing down here. And every time I sit there and watch a practice, I always say the same thing. Man, how did I ever do that? You ever think that?
I say it all the time.
Yeah.
I drove by here yesterday before practice even started. I was going to speak over to University School to a football camp there, and I saw them setting up this field, and I got out of the car right here at the U School, and it was 155 degrees or whatever, and I was like, man, I used to go out in this every day and practice, and that was back. I know I sound old saying that was back in the Jimmy Johnson days where it's 8 in the morning and then again at 3:30 in the afternoon and it's blazing hot, but. That's the great part of the game. It was so much fun.
The game has changed. It's different now. Collective bargaining, how you can practice, what the league allows you to do. It's changed a lot. But look, it doesn't make the game any easier for these guys. No. And it's not going to make this season, 2016, any easier for the Miami Dolphins. The last 12 years, 1 playoff appearance. That's got to change. And that's got to change in a hurry with this football team. I like Adam Gase. I like what he's doing. What are your thoughts about this 2016 Miami Dolphin football team and what they expect? They go out and get Larry Tunsil, first pick in the draft. You go out and you get a Kiko Alonso and a Byron Maxwell as free agents to come in and make some changes, along with the rest of the draft choices. As you look at this team, you look at the roster, you look at the changes, and look, the coaching changes, we're all going to feel our way through this. You know, everything looks good. There's a good attitude, and you feel like they're heading in the right direction. But until they do it, we're not going to know. What are your thoughts as you kind of project out to 2016 in the season?
Well, that's why around town and anywhere a microphone is put in my face, I always say practice patience.
Yep.
You know, it's not going to happen overnight. I love Adam. I love Adam and a lot of the staff that he's brought in. I mean, some great guys defensively. Jim Washburn, the defensive line coach, I can't speak highly enough about. But it takes time.
Because he comes from Detroit, and Ndamukong Suh had him in Detroit. He's a pass rushing guy. You know him. What is it about him that makes him special?
He's old school.
Yeah,
that's what I love. He is mean, nasty. But you know what? He loves his players. He will do anything for his players. But when you're in the field, he gets after you. He talks trash. He picks on you a little bit. He'll talk down to you a little bit, lovingly and jokingly. But you know, in the back of in the back of your mind, you still know. Well, he's pushing me, but he's also loving me and making it hard on me. And he'll embarrass you in front of your peers, and that pushes you along. So he's an old school guy, and I like that. But patience, you know, this could be a 10-win season, could be an 11-win season. I hear some guys on the radio yesterday talking about 6-7 wins. It could be anywhere in between. Yeah. But it's a process. It takes time to instill a new culture. The last culture is gone. The last regime is gone, and I think in a lot of ways it kind of set the team back. Some of the ways the business was being done, and I think this is a four-letter word to any football player. I think the softness that was perpetuated by some of the program, I think was very detrimental to the product on the field. So it's going to take time to get this instilled and the players to buy in. They love him right now. Everybody in Miami loves Adam right now. He hasn't lost a game yet. So we'll see when adversity hits how the players and the coaching staff push through it. But I am on board, hook, line, and sinker with Adam Gase and all the guys.
I touched on it a little bit, Jason. We're talking about Adam Gase day one of practice. No going in the bubble to stretch. It was hot out there today, and it was muggy, and it's what training camp's all about. We're not going to go in there. We're going to play in this weather. We're going to play in these conditions. We're going to practice in these conditions and be better for it. And again, that's a little bit of an old school thought process, you know. So, but I agree with that 100%. If you live in this, if you live in this environment, in this climate, and you're going to play in this climate, you might as well practice in it, because that's the only advantage you get when these teams are coming down, because everyone's in good shape.
Well, if it was up to me, and you know, I wasn't the owner that paid $10 million or whatever for it, I'd put a needle in it and deflate it. I mean, outside of the youth football camps they do in the summertime, and the cheerleaders practicing in there, I wouldn't even use it. And I agree with you. You play in it, you live in it. You know, you're gonna have to deal with it every Sunday. If it rains on Sunday, if it rains on a Wednesday and you run inside, you can't do that on Sunday. So again, that's old school thinking. Jimmy Johnson used to dunk the balls in the water and all those things.
Lightning, you know, fine. Go in there when it's lightning.
No, but they have a lightning protection system up there.
Well, we had a lightning.
So they say.
I had Don Shula for 10 years of my career. He was the lightning. He was the lightning system. I don't care where it was cracking, where it was going. You were staying out there. So that's one situation. Hey, we're here with you on the Audible. We're going to be with you every day, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 4:30. Stick tight. Also, Facebook, if you're on Facebook or you want to communicate with us, it is an interactive program. We want your thoughts. We want to know what you're thinking about. We want to answer your questions. So go ahead, jump on Facebook, give us the questions, and we'll move forward with that and keep you up to date with everything that's going on. A couple surprises out there today, day one of practice. Biggest surprise came on the guys they put on physically and unable to perform. Arian Foster, no big surprise there. He's coming off the Achilles injury. He's also a guy that's got some miles on him. I think this coaching staff is going to kind of, I don't want to say baby him in, but going to kind of work him in, and so that he can get up to speed to where they want him to, so they can evaluate what he's going to be. But the big surprise to me was Bobby McCain, the cornerback, especially on a football team with the Dolphins, where you lose Brent Grimes, you go out and you get a Byron Maxwell, Xavier Howard, the other rookie that came in, second-round draft pick. He's on PUP. We heard about that yesterday. So they get very, very thin in a very, very thin area in this team in the cornerback position, something they're going to have to try to resolve in a hurry.
And they can tweak that easily. When these guys come back, whether it be in a couple of days or 5 days, it's not like they're out for 6 weeks. So that opens camp that way, allows you to bring an extra body into camp. But unfortunately, when those guys do come back, you have to make room for it. But it's you hate going into camp with guys on injured or not, or PUP or whatever. But the Arian Foster, you have to kind of work him back in, and I think it's smart to do it that way. And Achilles is tough for any player, particularly a running back that has to cut and push off of those things. Cam Wake's coming back from one, but he's a freak of nature. The way he works in the off season and his body is. But I think the Arian Foster move is really smart.
I saw Cam 3 months ago. and he was ready to play then.
I mean,
he is a freak.
Yes, I saw him shortly after his surgery, but I think he still should have been in a boot or on crutches. I'm not a doctor, but I think I've seen guys before on crutches. He's walking around in the boot.
Yeah.
I'm like, where's your crutches? He's like,
Cam. That's one guy I don't worry about coming back from that. Arian Foster, a little different. Also, Zach Vigil and the running back Damian Williams. I think he's got a little bit of a hamstring injury. He's on the PUP, and all those guys, when they get healthy, they can come back and start work and do that. Hey, we've got a couple questions on Facebook. Let's go ahead and do that. Nancy and Whitchurch, is Marino personally training Tannehill? Now you're close with Danny. You're close with Ryan. Ryan, look, first of all, I got to congratulate Ryan. Pretty good week for Ryan this week. Had a birthday, has had a baby son born this week, and then open training camp. So kind of one of those a pretty strange week for Ryan Tannehill.
It's a busy week, and it's I mean, congrats to he and his
hell a little bit there, you know what I mean?
Congrats to he and his wife Lauren on the birth of the child. But he, unfortunately for him, he can't be around the kid a whole lot right now. He's got to go to work for the next month for sure, and be really deep into football. But what a great week.
So Marino and Tannehill, what do you think of that relationship? And do you think there's a big pause? I can't see where there's a negative to having Dan Marino around helping you out in the locker room.
You've got the greatest passer in NFL history being around you almost every day of the week. I mean, it has to rub off on you a little bit. Dan's got a wealth of knowledge that he could share with Tannehill. So this is a big year for Ryan. I mean, he got paid. There's a lot of people that are kind of split, really polarizing in their opinions about the type of quarterback he is and can be. And I think Adam Gase worked with Cutler and did some good things with Cutler. He obviously had one of the greatest quarterbacks in Peyton Manning that he worked with. But I think the biggest job he ever did was with Tim Tebow. Yeah. And I respect Tebow for what he did, for what he did in college and his success in the NFL briefly, but he wasn't the greatest quarterback out there, and they made the playoffs. He made he made Tebow work. Yeah. He can do wonders with Tannehill.
No question. So we're looking forward to good things there with Ryan Tannehill. And look, so goes the Miami Dolphins this year. Could be so goes Ryan Tannehill. The way he goes, maybe the way this football team goes, and that's certainly part of it. Hey, another thing. I hope we answered your question there. Another thing is. Another news today that came out really as training camp was just opening up here in Davie. Deion Jordan reinstated by the league with some caveats that he's got to follow through with. Not sure exactly when he's going to be here, if he's in town, when he'll suit up, when things will get started. You worked with him a lot when Deion was here. Guy's been out of the game for a couple years. Game changes every year. How tough is it going to be for him to come back in, acclimate himself to playing football at this level, and then figure out a way to be productive on this football team?
Well, I got a chance to work with Deion a little bit a couple of years ago, and not enough. Unfortunately, not enough. I couldn't be around him enough and get him on the grass enough and do some things and be able to talk to him. I think the line of communication wasn't as open, and he's obviously had some issues going on in his life. The more important thing is what you do outside of here right now. Get yourself together physically, mentally. Whatever the problems were with the substance abuse, put that behind you. I still think there's a talented kid there. Yeah. There's an athletic guy.
Very athletic guy.
Very long, fast, strong. And I had some of the similar things. I tried to talk to Deion about it, and I couldn't get a hold of him. But some of the similar things that people were saying about him, that he couldn't do it at that size, and guys want to put weight on him. Yeah. I am the same weight right now. Skinny as I look right now on this telecast, I'm the same weight right now that I was when I made every Pro Bowl. Yeah. Deion Jordan did not need to put a bunch of weight on. Right. He just needed to get stronger and find what worked for him. And I had a guy like Trace Armstrong help me find that path and kind of tell me the same thing. I stopped eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches at midnight trying to put on weight and drinking all this crap. I got a bottle of water, a work ethic, and went in the weight room and just go make yourself. And I hope he gets back to doing that and away from some of the outside influences.
So here's one thing I look at Deion Jordan. Deion's 6'6", 250. You played 6'6", 250.
240.
245.
Yeah, he's bigger
When I
than
came
me.
in the league, I was 6'6", 245.
There you go.
Three guys all the same, all basically the same frame, the same type of situation.
And I don't understand why people keep saying he can't do it at that weight. When they had somebody I did it for 13 years in Miami ahead of him, and they still try to put weight on him.
One of your closest friends is the example to everybody that says you can't do it because you're that size. Zach Thomas did it, and nobody gave him a shot. And look what he turned out to be.
Yeah, he did it better than everybody, and helped everybody around him be better players. Without him, there is no me.
No doubt about it. Hey, a lot of good stuff out here in the first day. This is the Audible. This is our first show of the season. We're going to be with you Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday. Throughout training camp at 4:30, things may change when the regular season rolls around. Want you to be part of this. Want you to partake. So if you want to jump on Facebook, give us your questions. We'll go ahead and get the job done. Since we're talking about the defensive line, Michael Brennan jumped in here and asked about the defensive line and how we think they'll do against the running game. How well will they be able to defend against the run? I think last year they were 21st in the league against the run. I believe they've got to get somewhere between 15 and 10. Love to see them up in the single digits, but they've got to be that kind of a run defense if they're going to be as successful as they want to be on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, they're too talented on the defensive line. I think in the linebacker spot is getting better and better. They should be a top 10 against the run. And you have to be successful in this league. Everyone thinks the NFL now is this passing league, which they are. They pass the ball a lot, but you cannot allow the running game to kind of sneak up on you and really dictate what you do defensively. And I think last year at times, whether it be schematically or personnel-wise or guys just not playing very well, but they weren't great against the run, and it was a detriment to the whole team. When an offense can impose their will running the ball, whether they want to run it 20 times a game or 35 times a game, if they're allowed to have success in that amount of runs, it's really, really handicaps your defense, particularly when you weren't as strong as you'd like to be at the second level.
It always amazes me when I talk to fans, and I love talking to fans about football. And they all say, oh, no one cares about the running game anymore. It's all a passing game. Yet every coach I've ever talked to over the last 15 years of doing this and said, what do you need to do in this game? First thing is we need to stop the run. Second thing is we got to run the football. And you can talk to Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick, anybody you want to talk to. No matter if they're throwing the ball all around the yard, you got to be able to stop the run. And I always say you don't need to run the ball 30 or 40 times a game, but you certainly have to have a threat of the run. That defense has to respect your ability to run the football, or else they're just going to pin their ears back and it's not going to work.
Well, you need to be efficient running the football.
Yes.
If you can average 4.5 yards a carry, 5 yards a carry, and you only run it 20 times a game, well, you're very well off offensively. You know the old dry erase boards, and they write every week they would write goals on the board. What we had to do to win, and it'd be 5, 6, 7 things. For 15 years of my career, in every meeting room I was in, every defensive line meeting room I was in, there was a dry erase board, and number one never got erased. Number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 would change week to week.
Changed around.
Stop the run. Big black letters. You know what? It got to the point where it was on there so long that you couldn't erase it. Like it became permanent.
Anymore,
you try to use alcohol to get it off. Stop the run. Now, I wasn't always real big on stopping. No, I always told my coach, listen, I'm going to stop the run.
Right, if it comes my way.
On the way to the quarterback. So I'm not going to stand here and take it on. I'm going to stop the run on the way to him. So but you have to do it. You have to do it.
You got it. It is. It's key to the game. And training camp opened up today. Had a nice crowd out for the game, out for practice, and the practices are open. You can find that schedule in the newspaper, online, MiamiDolphins.com. So there's plenty of ways for you to find out when practices are. There's practice tomorrow at 8:20, Sunday at 8:20, Monday again at 8:20. But boy, some changes out here on the field. This canopy, when they put that up, I was out here 2 weeks ago, it wasn't out there. Now they got this canopy that covers all the fans out there. They're in shade. It's fabulous. And when the fans are able to be on the practice, out for practice, they're going to practice on the field closest to the fans, which I think is it's a great opportunity for the fans to see the work.
That's great. I see the role reversals. The players are back into the sun, and the fans get put in the shade, not only at practice but also in the stadium when that's done here shortly. So, I just walked into the studio. Amazing. And I was like, I was talking to Jim. What is this? When did this go in?
I've heard a lot of people complain about Stephen Ross. All that guy does is open up his pocketbook and give this organization what they need to be successful, and does things that are going to help the fans. So,
Steve wants to win for sure.
No doubt. Hey, let's kind of transition after. Also, I got to mention some other things. There's a VIP section on the field out there where you can stand on the field and watch practice. It's also covered. They got food and drinks in there. They've got an area. They bring kids out on the field where they can get autographs, where they're not pushed by the adults that are kind of jamming in there against the fence. So they make it easier for the kids to get autographs. Some of the days they'll have food trucks out in the back here where you can get food and stuff. So man, it's like a party out here. It's good stuff.
So I guess if you pay the right amount of money, you could have Cam Wake or Sue hits you. I mean, you
can have them come to your bar mitzvah if you want. You've done a couple of those things.
I have done
You've
quite
been
a
to
few.
bar
They're
mitzvah
actually,
too, haven't you?
Yeah, they are. I've been there. They're a good time. They're a really good time.
Hey, you touched on the stadium also. Today was a big day down in Miami Gardens at the stadium. Stephen Ross went down after practice. They lifted the last big piece of metal up there. Stephen Ross signed it, which is a tradition with builders. Signed it. They hoisted it up there. He is signing it right there. Put it up. And I don't know if you've been by that stadium recently, but man, it is going great guns now. And Stephen Ross made the comment. Someone asked him, how about the stadium? Where's it going? He said, it will be ready September 1st. They said, do you have a backup plan in case it's not? And he says, no, we don't have a backup plan. We're ready. We're going to look at who's coming in. Jarvis Landry just walking by. Jarvis, why don't you come on and sit down with us for a little bit?
How's it going?
Hey, man, you excited about that new stadium up there, huh?
Baby.
What's up, man?
What's up, Jay?
Your boss was here signing the last piece of steel going up there. The roof's going to be done, man.
So
It'll be nice, huh?
So many places to be made.
Have you been by there?
I've been by that one time, but
You've already made a few plays in that building.
Man, it's a whole different
Yeah?
building now. It's a whole different
Oh,
building.
was it hot out there today?
It was definitely. You don't expect nothing less here though in Miami,
Yeah.
so it's natural.
How was day one for you?
It was exciting. It was fun. I honestly, I lived for these 6 months. So having the opportunity to be back in the building and be around the guys, for me, it's everything. For me, it's everything. And Coach Gates makes it that much better with, the way the ball moves around and the way the practice flows. It's amazing.
Now, you've been through OTAs and minicamp, but now it's real. I mean, it's training camp. The pads aren't on yet, but this is like the real deal. The season starts here in a month. You notice a difference between pace in June and May as opposed to now, or?
Oh man, absolutely. Now is the time when guys are starting to kind of make that transition toward getting in their top peak. For heading off into the season, and for us, we had opportunities in OTAs to kind of learn the playbook and make our early mistakes, and now it's just hitting the ground running, and coming out here and making the plays that we're capable of making.
Jarvis, how was it playing the Pro Bowl last year? First of many?
First of many,
Yeah.
guaranteed.
Good for you.
Guaranteed. But it was fun. I think the best thing I took from it, man, was not only having the opportunity to represent the Miami Dolphins, but represent my family, and have them come down and to Hawaii, coming from Louisiana, they never think they'll make it to Hawaii, so having the opportunity to bless my mom with that is amazing.
So you took the family out. You made no money.
You made it rain up.
It ends up being expensive. I tell you what.
Trust me, I know you made
You lost money going out there?
Yeah, absolutely. So it helps if you win the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, there's been a lot of talk about Adam Gase, his new offense, what it is. You're right in the middle of that whole thing. What is it about Adam's offense that you like? What is it about this offense that's different?
His whole philosophy and scheme is, he wants us to be the best conditioned team. So in the fourth quarter, we still running like we're in the first, and definitely training out here in the heat, it gives us that, competitive advantage. But the thing that I love most about the offense, it's so spread out and every guy touches the ball. So it's no real decoy. Everybody's up on every play, and for the quarterback, especially for Ryan, it allows him to, pick his matchups and just go with it, and understand the scheme and everything going on within the play, and Coach Gates is dialing them up.
Have you noticed a change in Tannehill yet from what he was last year and already? I know it's still early in the offseason and beginning of training camp. Can you see a change in his body language and the way he runs the offense?
I tell you what, just everything about him. Watching him evolve. And being a part of this journey. For the last 2 years with him and this team and this offense. And he every year he comes in and he's a better leader. And with having Coach Gates, in his ear, coaching him up. I think is gonna do well. Do well for this offense, for this team, and eventually lead to a playoff Super Bowl title.
I ran into you a couple times this offseason, and it seemed like whenever I'd see you, Devontae Parker was standing right next to you. You kind of took him under your wing. A lot of talent, a lot of ability on this kid. You had a chance to work with him this offseason. You expecting big things from him?
Absolutely. I expect nothing less.
Yep.
We've all seen and known what he can do, despite him being hurt for a majority of the season last year. But having him back and seeing so much potential, in such a big guy, and giving Ryan another target. giving our offense another weapon, along with Kenny Stills and Jordan Cameron, Jay Ajayi, giving us more weapons to attack teams with. And I think that that's the part of our offense that, we're going to use the most.
So when do the pads go on?
I think coming up on here on Monday.
Okay.
Monday. I'm excited.
Those first couple of days of camp, you chomp
don't
in,
matter.
you're excited to be back.
I'm excited.
Pads, you guys just out there running free out there.
With the exception of a few receivers.
Yeah.
With the exception of a few receivers. I like to think physical players, that's the way.
Hey, training camp. This is your third training camp here, right?
Yes, sir.
Strangest thing that ever happened to you in training camp
Oh,
since you've been here?
I wish I had more stories.
Yeah.
I wish I had more
You
stories.
spent too much time out there with the jugs done and stuff.
Right. I think for me, man, the biggest opportunity of training camp is, you really find out who guys are.
Yeah.
You really find out what they're made of, and where their heart and their love for the game is. And I think from there you build those relationships that'll last for forever. And for me, that's kind of the biggest thing I'll take from it. I don't really have any stories, or, I'm not really too much of a jokester.
Yeah.
I'm really just about business.
No, man, I'm gonna tell you what. I've been down that sideline. I've never seen a guy get in a zone like you. You get into a scary zone out there sometimes.
I think that's what it takes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes you being crazy, and you probably speak on it. You have to.
Sure.
You have
for
to.
Sure.
And I think at the end of the day, that's the juice that what my nickname is, and I think when guys see that give them a little bit, and for me, as long as I could bring it every Sunday. They count on me. I know
Your best training camp story?
Oh, I can't share those. Remember, I played back in a different era.
So I'll give you a different era. Let me tell you what. I was late for back when I played. They had a college all-star game, and I played in the college all-star game, which meant you missed the first 2 weeks of training camp. Okay. It was just a deal that the league had with the game. So I missed the first couple of weeks, and I missed the first meeting where the coach sets out the rules, and Don Shula, and the whole thing. So first day of practice, I come in, I'm practicing, get done with my group, come out, take my helmet off, get down on the knee. All of a sudden I hear, "Hey, what the hell are you doing over there?" What? Nobody gets on a knee in my practice. No one takes their helmet off. August down here in the summertime, 2-a-day practice, you couldn't take your helmet off. You couldn't get on a knee. And at that time, you had no water in the field.
Oh, wow.
A little different back then.
Things have changed.
Wow.
And they weren't paying us near as much money as you guys.
I'm grateful.
But that's
grateful.
all right.
Yeah,
That's all right. It's a different thing. Hey, your thoughts on this football team this year? And you've been in that locker room for a long time. You've been in the locker room with these guys during mini camp, OTAs, a lot of off-season work that you guys put in. How do you like this group you're with?
Love it. I love it. And, I think, for us, man, a lot of times when you look at it from the outside in, people think it starts with the coaches. Yeah. And we have a great coaching staff, but, it starts with the leaders on this team. Yeah. As much as the leaders push, myself, Ryan, Sue, Kenny Stills, as much as we push, I think this team goes, so for us, we got to find a way to take control of this team, and rally behind each other. Every guy buy into their role. I think that's what championships teams do. I've been a part of a couple.
I agree with that. I mean, I look at this football team, and I know we got a new coach in Adam Gase and other coaches, but I honestly believe that this football team going forward, if you're going to be successful, the type of team you want to be, it's about the players. Always. About the players playing their best, looking themselves in the mirror every day and saying, what can I do to get better? And if you lose a game, looking yourself in the mirror and say, what can I do not to help us win a game, not to lose a game? And it's a very basic thing with football, but Jay, it's what it is.
And off the field, the players have to police themselves.
Yeah, no doubt.
The coaches always said the coaches establish the culture upstairs, but the players have to run the football team. Yeah. I mean, coaches organize the practice and call the plays and all that, but if your leadership in the locker room is not strong enough for guys to respect you enough to be on time for meetings, to stay awake, to do the small things, the coaches have no chance.
How my boy Laramie Tunsil looking out there?
Man, amazing.
They had him playing backup. He's playing with the second group left tackle today.
Yeah, I saw him today. I pointed him out.
That's a big man right there.
Man, listen, sweet feet too.
Yeah, man.
Sweet feet too. I'm excited about him.
You've seen him out on OTAs and out and working out. I mean, this guy can move, man.
He can. I'm excited. I think this whole team is excited. But for now, him being such a young guy, it's time for Pouncey and Juwan James, bring him along, help him with the playbook, allow him to get on the same page as far as the cadence, hearing Ryan's voice with the cadence, to allow him to get off the ball and do what he do best.
With those guys, with Brandon, with Pouncey, and with Juwan, 3 guys there that potential Pro Bowl 3 guys, pretty good group of guys for him to acclimate himself into the NFL and into this offensive line with.
Absolutely. And I've developed a relationship, extremely well with Juwan James, being drafted with him, and come to know Pouncey, and Brandon Albert, and just being around them, and the way that Pouncey, I can speak about it, carries his business and goes about taking care of his body and being a legitimate pro, there's not a better model to follow as far as on that offensive line.
You don't mind having a little fun either. Hey, I've got Elijah Vasquez with a question to you, Jarvis. Have you seen anyone do anything impressive that you didn't expect? I don't know if that's since you've been in the league or so far, but somebody that's impressed you, that seen some things that you didn't expect? And by the way, how'd you guys lose any games when you were at LSU, man? Man, I'm looking at Odell Beckham. I'm looking at the quarterback.
I wish I could answer that question. I don't.
Okay.
I can't
go back to the question.
Something that is impressive.
Seen a player that you made a play that and just said, "Wow." Well, some of the plays you make.
I've said
wow to your plays.
I've said a few times about you, I will say.
I can't think of none offhand. I can't think of any offhand, but
I don't think you even watch. I don't think you watch anyone else because I think you're so. Game day, your focus is a narrow focus.
Yes, sir. I mean, I tend to watch guys around the league, and I think that's how to an aspect I develop my game also. But at the same time. Playmakers make plays, and when you look at guys like Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham, AJ Green, these guys, you expect them to make these plays, So to me, it's not wow. It's like okay, okay. I know you. Yeah.
I got you. Good for you, Jarvis. So looking forward to another big year from you. You've become a fan favorite. You've become a leader in this football team. You've become certainly one of the top players in this team, and a guy that when people go to that stadium and to watch you play, they're always going to get their money's worth out of you, and that's a great thing, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is.
Good. We're going to wrap up this initial version of the Audible. As I told you, we're going to be here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, at least at 4:30 through training camp. Jason, always a pleasure having you with us today and spending some time. Congratulations with your spot on the WQAM radio play-by-play booth. You'll be there during the preseason games, so all your fans can hear you during the games. And looking for a good year and looking for a great year on the Audible, and looking forward to interacting more with the fans out here on the program. So join us next time. We'll be back Monday at 4:30. We'll see you then. It's been a pleasure.